Okay, so I wanted to capture on camera, whether or not I upload this to YouTube, my current state. I have a purpose statement. I am here to create a world of paper that expresses my perspective and ideas to find understanding, connection, and acceptance with the people in the world around me. That's the very first line. Well, therein lies the problem. That's the problem, is that my content isn't doing that. I haven't been making a whole lot of new stuff recently, so I'm not really making the world of paper that I want to. And I'm not actually expressing my ideas and perspective through my videos. I keep only talking about the models and the process of making these models out of paper, which I don't care that much about, not to talk about it at least. I like doing it. I don't want to talk about it. So I'll always show you how I do it, but explaining what I do step by step and it's boring content to me. I have so many other things I'd rather talk about. So this really sort of started at the beginning of 2020, and it feels like I've been doing a depression for the whole year. This was all really triggered for the first time about 2 weeks ago, where I did a test. The guy called Dr. John DeMartini, who I've been listening to a lot. I really like his ideas and how he explains the world and human behavior. And so I did his values elicitation test and figured out what my top values were. And the top ones basically being, the top one was storytelling. The storytelling, character design, artwork, as you would expect, as that's what I devote my time and energy to. And so this was just a series of 13 questions around asking you what you spend your life, your time, your energy, your money, your thoughts on. So it's what your life is actually demonstrating that you value. What are the things that you actually are inspired to do because you do them free of accord, regardless of the injected values or what other people think of what you should do. If you have to use the word I should do it or I have to do it, then it's not truly important to you. And since I figured that out about 2 weeks ago, it just became really clear to me that I've just felt really disconnected from everything else, because it's like, oh, I'm not really doing much in terms of storytelling. And I'm not even talking about character designs. My favorite video I keep talking about is JoJo is Style, because I talk about the character designs and the art style of one of the most influential series of my life, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. But that's one video out of 70. There's only a select few videos where I actually talk about things I want to talk about. I want to talk about a film. I want to talk about scale and proportions and the significance of that. I want to talk about how story is a reflection of reality and tools for living, not an escape from it. I've got like 30 or so videos written that, outlined at least, where I talk about this stuff, but I haven't made them. And I haven't made them because at the start of 2020, I had the idea. So I've been moving toward what I call part 2. So it's just the next phase of the channel where I change the content that I make. Part 1 of the channel, which is what you've seen up until now, was about documenting the process and really finding my footing on YouTube. And doing that alone has gotten me to 100,000 subscribers and millions of views with thousands of dollars of income too, which over 4 years is not that much, but it's something. And all the income I've gotten from YouTube I have used to pay for the desks and the materials and the office and the stuff that I use. So you, dear audience member, that my viewers, the viewers of this content, your actions in just watching what I do and the videos I upload has allowed me to make this stuff. And I think that's pretty cool. It's weird because it's like a connection with somebody I don't know the face or name of, but it's still cool. And my high school life was defined by my by one belief mostly, and that was the belief that I had, because I liked drawing and art since I was 7. So 17 years I've done this, and I've done it pretty consistently every year. And I always liked animation and cartoons, and then for a period there I liked other nerdier things like Yu-Gi-Oh cards and model kits, right? All the stuff that when you're a kid, it's acceptable and fine that you like it, but then when you transition into a teenager in high school, all of a sudden you're supposed to not like it anymore. It's not expected. It's not what you should do. And that was really challenging me for high school because, of course, becoming a teenager, I just wanted to be a cool kid. I didn't want to be bullied and dunked in the toilet like the American movies. I just wanted to be on the in crowd, and that was it. I just wanted to be cool and popular. And I thought the belief that defined a lot of my actions in high school was that if anybody knew that I liked these nerdier things, these things that I liked as a kid, I would have no friends. I would be ridiculed and teased for the rest of my high school life, or for the rest of my life, because when you're in high school, you dramatize everything and you think that everything that happens now is the most important thing ever. So I never told anybody about my artwork, and I certainly never showed anybody my paper models. And 2016, when I uploaded my Superman video to YouTube, I also shared that video on my personal Facebook. And then at some point in 2017, I turned my personal Instagram into the Instagram you see, which you should follow, link in the description, but just, a place where I upload all my artwork as well. And that was a massive move for me because it was kind of just like putting it out, because all my friends from high school and everybody I'd ever met, I'd had friends with on Facebook, and a lot of them followed me on Instagram. So at that point, it was like they were going to know now. And the great part, or the interesting part, is that this idea was in my head because I've seen so many people since, and people have only been kind and encouraging of my artwork and career choice. Whereas in my head, I have this very strong expectation that it's going to be the worst case scenario. And then I live in fear of that, or lived in fear of that, because now I'm pretty confident in my artwork. Big part to the success of the channel so far is that clearly other people are interested in what I do as well. It has value in the eyes of others, not just myself, and that's huge. And so, on a personal level, part one of the channel, documenting the process of getting started, was about getting comfortable and owning all this artwork that I do, and that this is a big part of who I am and how I live my life. But part two, we'll be talking about the other stuff that I haven't expressed yet, the stuff I've been repressing, which is, there's a real fear when you talk about the things that you care about, just the ideas and stuff, there's a vulnerability in that, whereas, I don't know, I don't have the words for it currently. So anyway, I'm very confident in my artwork right now. I know that it's what I want to do, and I'm not going to stop. And I'm really not too fazed by people that don't value it or ridicule it or laugh at it. I've been laughed at plenty of times already. You get used to it. Telling people that you're a YouTuber, dropping out of university to become a YouTuber, elicits some very interesting and skeptical reactions from people. And it's great because you learn to deal with that when you're exposed to this stuff frequently. Then eventually you can't really run away from it, so you have to own it. You confront it and you own it, and then you're not fazed by it anymore. You rise above it. It's easy. It's not easy, but it happens. So part two, which I'd been moving towards since the start of the year, since like last year, for about 9 to 10 months, when I realized that I did not like the content I was creating on my channel, but I had this expectation that I had to finish a lot of the projects that I started, so I felt a little bit restricted there. I couldn't just abandon old projects, when in retrospect that might have been the best course. And so at the start of the year in 2020, I decided that I would review all my previous projects, and what I was aiming to do is I was aiming to create a video review of all the paper models I've made on the channel, starting with Superman, ending with Thanos, all the paper models that were part of part one, and which was like 13 to 14 different models, all have in their own video, and I could make those videos, and I could upload and finish all those videos in 1 month. So February 1st of 2020 was my 4-year anniversary on YouTube. The 4-year anniversary would be when I'd announce part two of the channel and the new direction of the channel, which I'm confident you will like. And if you don't, then you just unsubscribe and leave. That's fine. And so I was going to review all my previous projects up until then as kind of a look back on how far we've come. And then I would do the part two announcement where I reveal the logo and all the thing. And that didn't work out. I think I ended up reviewing about 5 or 6 paper models in the 1 month. And the problem started was I had a fantasy. I had a fantasy that all of a sudden I'd be able to upload a video every 2 days, which, underestimating the time and energy it would take to make these videos. I really didn't have time for anything else in my life to do that in 2 days. And then I was also expecting that it would get lots of views, that because I was uploading so frequently, the algorithm, the YouTube algorithm would give a huge boost to my content and suggest my videos a lot more. So I was expecting a lot of growth. I just had all these benefits in my mind lined up of how good it was going to be, and with no consideration of the drawbacks. And that's the fantasy. And then also, not really doing content I'm inspired by. I was never really inspired to do the reviews. I just got this idea in my head that I had to. And then when I started it, I had to, you have to finish everything you start in the world, right? God forbid if you quit. So the problem was I had a fantasy of how things would turn out. And when the reality fell short of that fantasy, depression happens, because you're elated by your fantasy, reality falls short, and your expectations are still up here. Reality doesn't quite meet the expectations. And so, elation, depression. You fall short, and then you get real down on things, and then you realize that you're not, in my case, I realized I wasn't really excited by or inspired by the videos I was making, and then it's just like, but then you have this idea that you have to keep going because you have to start what you finish, and then you get yourself into a bit of a hole. Big benefit of that was that I decided to just make some videos that I was excited to do again and have some fun ones, like Venom's shirt video and then the Super Saiyan Goku head. I just decided, I want to do this and I'm going to make a video about it and stuff it. And then that video was really successful, so that's great. Nonetheless, I still got caught. And then this, I was really confronted with this 2 weeks ago, where I was starting to actually feel really down. And I think that's why, because it's, your body is giving you these emotions to remind you, to sort of show you, you're not on track, you're off track. And then I read that first line of my purpose statement and it clicks, and it's just like, I'm not expressing my ideas or my perspective of the world. And in feeling like I have to review and finish old projects, I'm not building anything new, and I'm not building towards this paper world. I am not in line with my highest priorities in life. My actions are not in line with what I value and what I want to do. I have all these shoulds, these expectations that have manifested out of nothing. I don't even know where they come from. I don't know if it matters. But what matters is that it's not me. And the content, I feel, for a long time hasn't been me. So when you see big gaps between my upload schedule where I don't want to upload, it's that kind of forcing yourself to do something you don't want to do. And if you're going to do a YouTube channel, it has to be exactly what you want to do, because it's your channel, right? And there's no guarantees, there's no security. There's a lot of drawbacks to having to do this thing, and you do it by yourself, and it's lonely, and people look at you funny, and people don't understand. It makes it difficult to talk to others because you can't talk about your work, and you care more about your work than most people in the world do, but then most people in the world don't know what you do with your work, so it's just really... And because on YouTube, you could build your YouTube channel about anything. It's going to be very unique and personal to you. And so, I don't know. And I think that the reality is I haven't really understood and thought about why I'm so invested in and interested in making paper models. And I haven't expressed that through my content either. So that's what this is going to be about. That's why I'm making these more casual discussion, these just casual vlog videos, just talking about me, not my artwork. And that's because these videos, I record them in one hit, not scripted. It's just thoughts off the top of my head. Hit upload. Maybe someone cares, maybe someone doesn't. And then that buys me the rest of the week to write some stuff, to really reflect on my life so far and where I want it to go, as well as the channel so far, because it's a big part of my life. And where I want that to go, which I've been thinking about for the last 9 months, but I'm just kind of hitting this final stretch where I'm not going to be able to continue doing YouTube the way I have been. I've been planning to quit for 200 days. And I just thought, well, if I can't do it my way, I won't do it anyway.